Hi, I'm Julia with the North Texas Nonprofit Institute. Welcome to our webinar on community data profiles. Today, we welcome Dr. Monica Cruz and Janine Geppert with the Texas Demographic Center. Dr. Cruz serves as liaison with the Texas Legislature and supports the data needs of the center's network of statewide and local affiliates. Her research interests include housing, economic development, poverty, and employment. Ms. Geppert has over 10 years of experience coordinating quantitative and qualitative research projects in both the public and private sector. Currently, Ms. Geppert coordinates both interagency and sponsored research cooperation contracts. Glad everyone's here. Please say hello in the comment section. Type your questions in the chat as we go, and those will be answered at the end of the session. So right now, I'll turn it over to Dr. Cruz.
Hello, everyone. We are so pleased and honored to be here with all of y'all. Thank you for joining us for, I think, what is going to be a very informative presentation today. We're going to go over a lot of information, so don't feel like you're going to have to take it all in. Fortunately, the slides have been shared with you, and that you can use those as a reference in the future, and always, reach out to us for additional questions. But I'll go ahead and get started. A little bit about who we are. We are the Texas Demographic Center. We serve as the state data center for the state of Texas. We are part of the U.S. Census Bureau's State Data Center Network. It's a collaborative agreement that we have with the U.S. Census Bureau. The U.S. Census Bureau has this agreement with one entity in every state, and we are that entity for Texas. We are housed at the University of Texas in San Antonio under the Institute for Demographic and Socioeconomic Research. Our director and our boss here is Dr. Lloyd Potter, who serves as the state demographer for Texas and was appointed to that position back in 2010 by the Governor Perry at the time. So one of the major functions that we do is we take census data and highlight the trends occurring in Texas. And one of our major functions is that we produce annual population estimates and biannual population projections. The estimates we do, at a statewide level, county and city level, and biennial population projections we do only at the state and county level up through 2060. So other services that we provide is, we provide training and technical expertise like we are today, and some custom data analysis is needed. And we have a collaboration of, we collaborate with a lot of state level entities around the state and work collaboratively on data needs for Texas. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the data.census.gov platform and the American Community Survey. The data.census.gov platform is the Census Bureau's data platform to access demographic and economic data for various geographies in the U.S. What data is available on the platform? You can access decennial census data, which is the one that occurs every 10 years. And that data from 2000 to the present is available on the platform. We also have the American Community Survey, which has data from 2010 to the present, and the economic census and selected surveys. If you didn't know this, the Census Bureau actually conducts over 100 different surveys. But the decennial census is the one we're most familiar with, but the ACS is certainly one of the largest surveys that it conducts. So a little bit about the ACS. The ACS surveys approximately 3.5 million addresses across the US. And the data used through the ACS informs how trillions of dollars in federal funds are distributed each year. So that data, informs a lot of local governments, nonprofits about, demographic and socioeconomic data on the communities that they serve. So 40 plus topics. There's 3 annual data releases for the ACS. There are the 1-year estimates, and those are for geographies of 65,000 plus populations or more. So like counties with 65,000 or more people, cities with 65,000 or more people all get 1-year estimates. There's also 1-year supplemental estimates for small populations, geographies of 20,000 plus population. And then the 5-year estimates are for smaller populations below the 65,000, such as census tracts, etc. And we have a lot of counties in Texas actually that have a population of, certainly less than 50,000. So sometimes data for those rural counties have to use the 5-year estimates. And basically what it does is it takes data from over the span of 5 years, combines them to get the best quality data for those small populations. So here is an example of the ACS and the data releases that are usually released every year. It gives you a little bit of when the dates are. Like, for example, the data that's collected for 2023, all the data for the most recent year, which is complete year 2023, will be released in 2024. So the data is gathered over the year, the 12-month period, and the data for that year is released the following year. So here on this slide, it kind of gives you the timeline for how the data release will happen for the 2023 data. Right now, if you were to go onto ACS, you'll find 2022 data because the 2023 data has not been released. So the 2023 data will be released in 2024 with these dates. And I have a link. There's a link on the PowerPoint slide that you have that will take you directly to those data releases. What kind of data is in the ACS? Here's a sample of it. We have the ACS provides data on population, all kinds of social characteristics like educational attainment, marital status, school enrollment, demographic data on age, Hispanic origin, race, relationships of families, economic data on anything from employment status to income. You can also get, of course, poverty data from the ACS. Also, there's has an array of housing data that that lots of folks are interested around. Computer and internet use, whether the households in this community or the city, what's the percent that are owned versus rented. All kinds of data. There's so much data in the ACS that's available to you. And when we talk about geographies, this slide has a lot, but oftentimes I know folks are interested, like, really, what kind of different geographies can I get data on? And here's a sample of the data that's available. So geographic hierarchies, certainly for the US, different regions, divisions, states, metropolitan statistical areas, counties, census tracts. So I'm not going to go a lot into detail on the geographies available here, but this kind of gives you a visualization of the types of geographies that are available through census data. And there's lots of webinars out there that talk about geography level data through the Census Bureau. And here's an example, because some people say, well, how is the ACS different from the census? So this slide kind of shares with you kind of a little bit of the highlights. So for the ACS, they are a sample estimate. So, like, remember I said it surveys over 3 million households around the US, and they take that data and make sure that they incorporate statistics so that it is representative of the population in all those areas geographically. So they are sample estimates, whereas the census is an official count, and that happens, as you know, every 10 years. So the attempt and the goal of the census, the decennial census, is to count everybody, whereas the ACS surveys 3.1 million households. So, and as you know, with the census, if you recall filling it out in 2020, it asks you very basic questions, right? Very simple questions like how many people, what are their ages, what's their sex, etc. Very basic questions. Whereas the ACS is a much longer survey that randomly, people are randomly selected to participate in and gathers, that kind of data. All the data, the rich data that I just shared with you, that's what that survey does. And again, it's annual as opposed to the decennial census every 10 years. The ACS takes the data through the survey over a year's time, over a period of time, whereas the census happens, the beginning of April, point in time. They count as all, or the attempt is to count everyone in the U.S. for that. All right, so we're going to transition now into a live demonstration. So I'm going to be turning it over to my colleague Janine, who will do a live demonstration of what's available. The slides that you got, as you know, have a lot of details, a lot of good screenshots. But she's going to walk through this, and we're not going to show the slides while she's doing the live demonstration, but those are for your records. So I'll turn it right over here to Janine.
Yeah, thank you, Monica, and thank you all for joining this webinar this morning. So what we have planned today, as Monica said, is focusing on accessing data on data.census.gov. We are going to show data from two of the high-level surveys and programs Monica mentioned already, the Decennial Census and the American Community Survey. Again, it will be a live demonstration. I will answer common questions as we go along. And at the end, we plan on having a question and answer period. So don't get discouraged when you cannot follow. As Monica said, the presentation slides so you will receive after this presentation will have a detailed overview of all the steps I'm doing so that you can do your own research, your own searches, and dig deeper into this live or into the data in data.census.gov. So our goal for today's session is that you will feel comfortable using data.census.gov to get started with your searches, that you will know how to go about starting using the single search bar and the advanced search filters, that you feel comfortable with different ways in customizing your data table view, and that you know how to save your results. And once we go through all the steps, I will also show you how to create a map. Okay, let's go straight into that. And if you could please let me know if you can see my screen. And if you all see, probably not. Share screen. All right, here we go. You should be able to see now Google Chrome. So let's go right into it. You will go to your browser in the URL tab, and you will just enter data.census.gov. Hit enter, and you can use all browsers. We, for this demonstration, use Google Chrome, and this is also the one what the Census Bureau is recommending to use. Okay, what are we looking at? This is a landing page. This is what it's going to look like when you visit the site. There's a lot of additional information on the site, but for today's demonstration, we will be mainly focusing on, or we will only focusing on this area on top of here. So in this box in the center, and this is where most people start their search. To be honest, I use the single search bar a lot as well. Yesterday, for example, I couldn't recall a certain table, and I just entered a keyword. This is how the single search bar works. You can enter a single keywords like a single topic, a geography, a year, a table ID, or codes. So we are going to work through a few different examples here and showing some searches you could consider using in the future, or you can use this and tweak your searches for your own use. So we are going to walk through the single search bar to pull up the total population in Texas, the 2020 decennial census tables in Dallas County, Texas. And then I'm going to show you a product called the Geography Profiles for Fort Worth, Texas. All right. For our first example, we are typing in population total Texas. Texas. And in order to run the search, you can just press simply enter, or you can click on the spyglass icon on the right. From here, it's going to take you, when you click it, to the all results page. But before we get there, what I want to point out is that anytime you type something in the single search bar, the Census Bureau is making its best guess for what they think you mean. So we always recommend that users take a look in the upper left at the filters. So here you see the filter pane. And that will tell you how the Census Bureau is recognizing your search. So if I click on the filter, I see that it, in our case, it recognized the population filter, so the program filter and the geography filter. If I want to, if I don't need those filters, I will click those chevrons here, and the screen widens. This will be helpful when we work with the tables later on. Okay, but moving on to the actual results. So what I want to show you in this case, we entered population total in Texas. It gives us a featured statistic. So in this case, the total population being 29,145,505 people that live in Texas based on the 2020 census. As you scroll through the All Results tab, which is indicated in orange here, you can see that there are different table recommendations. Then they have map recommendations that correspond with your table research. Then there are profiles that we will be exploring later. And then at the very end, there are different web pages for census.gov that will have technical documentations and reports and other sources. But primarily for today, we are spending most of our time in the Tables tab, some of our time in the Maps tab, and in the Profiles tab. So, all right. Now we are moving on to our next example. Or we will first we will actually check out the tables panel here, and we can see in our first row we have the total number which we got before. But when you click on the results tab, it shows that this search generated 737 tables for the text we are entered in the single search bar. So we have here the population information from the decennial census. It also provides information from the population estimates and tables from the ACS, from the American Community Survey. But moving on to our second single search, and for that, and don't worry, we will explore the tables tab, as I said, later on. But for our next example, when you want to start a new search, you will click the census logo in the upper left corner, and you click on it, and it will start you fresh. So I'm going to type in our second example, which is 20. First of all, you need to go into the single search bar, but you enter 2020 decennial census, Dallas County, Texas. So you can click enter or the spyglass. And again, we will check our filter on how the Census Bureau recognized our search. And we can see that it nicely matches what we entered. We have the year filter for 2020, the program filter with decennial census, and the geography filter with Dallas County, Texas. And by the way, if you want to know what kind of filters they are available, or what those icons mean, there is a question mark right next to the filter where you can click on, and then you see all the explanations for those filters. Okay, so we are clicking on the tables tab. We can see this will give us a list of 253 results that have currently been released for Dallas County from the 2020 decennial census. Again, we are taking a deeper dive in the tables tab in a future example, but wanted to show you different tricks on how you can start your search. And the last example using the single search bar is a very great tool, which I like. If you are feeling overwhelmed with all those searches, what you can do is you can check out a product called Geography Profiles. So going back, I already went back to our landing page by clicking the census logo. You can pull up these profiles anytime you search a single geography. So as an example, I'm going to type in Fort Worth, Texas. Texas. All right. And then I press enter. We will look in the upper left of our filter panel again, and we see it's nicely recognized our selection, our geography selection. And what you do is now, do you see all those tabs up here? We will go now to the Profiles tab, and we will widen our screen by clicking the chevron. So this will give you first the top recommendations for the profile based on your search. So here it has found exactly what we would expect the profile for Fort Worth to look like. We have high-level statistics here and a view button. The profile tab will also display this information in a list format, but we will click View Profile, and then it will go to the a little bit of everything. So what you can see, and this is really, really a great tool for you all. So you can see it gives us a boundary information for the city of Fort Worth, and a little bit of information about the geography, and then it starts loading the most popular data that the Census Bureau has. And what is great about it is that it's pulling not only across different data tables, all in one view for you, but it also pulls from different surveys and programs. So as you can see, we have the decennial census here, also the American Community Survey. We have population and people, we have income, median household income, we have education with bachelor's degree or higher, and employment rate, and other key topics, of course. And as you scroll down, so not only do you get some of that key information, at a glance, there's so much more to this profile. So you scroll down and you can see that, for example, there are high-level statistics. So we have the median age for Fort Worth, and we have the median age for Texas. And you can see that the median age for Fort Worth is slightly lower than the one for the state of Texas. So the profiles also give us some sort of visualizations. It's either going to be a bar chart, a population pyramid, or a line chart. And here we are looking at a population pyramid for Fort Worth. So as you can see, there are male on the left-hand side in blue and female information population on the right-hand side in yellow. And we have the age ranges here on the left. So we can kind of quickly at a glance digest this information. And we see that that Fort Worth has a pretty high working age population and plenty of families with children. So this is helpful. And you can scroll through and get the information, not just for age, but across a variety of topics. And you might not know that the Census Bureau is collecting those kind of data. So we have information here on ancestry, language spoken at home, older population, or residential information. There's over 40 different parts to this profile that you can work with. As you can see, there are also tabs at the top. If you'd rather not scroll through the entire profile, you can just click on education, and it will jump right to that source information. All right, it's loads. So we are here for educational attainment. And the last thing I want to show you is that, for example, when you look down below, every information or every set you can see has information about the table ID and the program next to it. So here it is a table S0101, and the source is the 2022 ACS 5-year estimates subject table. So this is another entryway way for you to go into the tables. So when I click the table number, you can see that we will jump to the table. It needs some time. So as you can see, we have here the S0101, and here we have our Fort Worth city, the geography, and you have here the corresponding data you have seen in the profiles before. Again, we are doing a deeper dive into the tables later on, but I hope what I showed you here will be helpful for you to get started on data.census.gov. And again, those profile tabs are really, it's a really great way to start your search. Okay. With that said, there's an alternative way to go about searching on data.census.gov, and it's called the advanced search filters. So you will see the advanced search filter here. So we are going to work through an example, and we want to have the percent without health insurance across 3 geographies. So we are going to select Texas, Denton City, and zip code tabulation area 76201. I already clicked the census logo in the upper left, starting as fresh. And when you want to use the advanced search filters, you will click, as I said, the advanced search. And on the left-hand side, what you are going to see is a high level of different categories. We have geographies, topics, surveys, years, and codes. And you can click through those checkboxes and then select the information you are looking for. So those filters, those different types of filters are all available to you. And the subcategories, when you click on the advanced filters, are exposed by default. So I recommend starting with whatever you think is most important to you. But I think, or generally speaking, geography is usually a good way to start. So on the left-hand side, where it says state, we click on state. And then we are going to scroll and select Texas. We click that checkbox. And once we click that checkbox, you will see that in the upper left, it has been added to our filter. So the next selection we want to do is we want to select Denton. So it's, as Monica mentioned already, in the Census Bureau city, the Census Bureau uses place instead of city. So we will click on place. We follow the prompt, choose Texas, scroll down. And in this case, Texas has a chevron next to it. That means when we click Texas, we are going to get more detailed options to choose from. And in this case, specifically, the option is all places in Texas. And you know that Texas has a lot of places. So you could certainly scroll through those more than 1,200 places, or you could just make use of the search bar above all the place selection. And here we just enter Denton. Don't forget to click the checkbox. And we will see that it's going to be added to our filter category. Okay, so our next one that we are looking for is called zip code tabulation area. They're general representation of zip codes. So you will follow the prompt. You will choose Texas again. You can enter Texas here in the search bar as well. I will click Texas. And you will get now a list of all the zip codes or ZICTAs in Texas, but we just want to get the one I mentioned, the 76201. You can again certainly scroll through it, or you just enter here in the search bar 76201. Don't forget to mark the checkbox. And we can see that the ZICTA has been added to our filter selection. So far we have 3 geographies, but we haven't told the system that we are specifically interested in health insurance. So remember on the left-hand side, I showed you those categories. There's one call topic, and here we are looking for health. And then we see that it offers us the option health insurance. So we click health insurance. And you see that we have here on our filter 3 geographies, the one in our example, and our topic, health insurance. So if you're ready and you want to run your search, then you would click the blue button here on the lower right-hand side, and you click search. And you see that our advanced search provided us a list of 87 tables. And the first one is the S2701, the selected characteristics of health insurance coverage in the United States. You can see at the top of the table, it has also the table ID, the table title, and the table source. And I will whiten my table by clicking the chevron. And we can see, let's look at our table. So we can see the geography columns for Texas, and I scroll over. We have Denton, and then I'm scrolling over. And then we reach the end of our table. So what happened here? This is very important, and this happens to many users, don't worry. So the geography is programmed as an OR logic. It means it is giving you results for every possible table and product that is available for at least one of your geographies. The thing you need to be mindful of with American Community Survey is that 1-year data are only provided for areas with populations of 65,000 and more. This is what Monica also mentioned. So sometimes, in order to actually get all your selections being displayed, you would need to change your product. You can do this by clicking the drop-down arrow here and select the 5-year estimates subject tables. Another way would be that you open the results pane. And when you click here on the little icon, you see all products available to you. And here we will select the ACS 5-year subject tables. So it shows here as well, but we can make sure we have our geography Texas, we have our Denton City geography, and now our zip code tabulation area 76201 is being displayed as well. Okay, so now that we all have all our geographies, let's take a moment to browse what the table is telling us. So the first row is giving us the civilian non-institutionalized population. There's a column for the total population, the total number of people with health insurance, and the corresponding percent insured. And we have our column with people without health insurance and the percent uninsured when we scroll over. So we can see for Texas, it is 17.6%. So I'm going to make some tweaks here to the table. Don't worry if you cannot follow. This is just an example, and I walk you through this later on. I just want to show you how you can tweak your search. So by doing those 2 clicks, we can now see side by side the percent uninsured for our 3 geographies we selected. So this is a great way for you to easily digest those information. But we have now here the percent uninsured, but what is great on the table, and I haven't touched base on this yet, you can have that broken down by age, by female, male, or race and Hispanic origin. This table has so much information, you can just scroll down and dig deeper into this. So going back, be mindful of what table you selected, because a very common question is why aren't all my geographies I selected are not shown. So remember, when you click the 5-year estimates, you have the threshold. You don't have the threshold, and all your geographies will be displayed. Okay, moving on to our next example. I want to show you tips to make the most of your search, and we are going to show functionality on the site, how to customize the table view, save results, and even how to make a map. For this example, we are going to look at percent poverty, specifically from table DP03 across all census tracts in Wise County. So don't get frustrated if you did not understand half of what I just said. So for your reference, the DP tables are data profile tables, and I have a list of them. There are only 4 in other slide deck we will provide you later on, and they're a great way to start as well. So we have DP02, which is selected social characteristics. DP03 is selected economic characteristics. DP04 is selected housing characteristics, and DP05 is ACS demographic and housing estimates. So if you sometimes cannot find certain variables or data, just try those data profile tables. They're a very good way to start as well. So I mentioned the DP03 table and across all census tracts in Wise County. So even if you are not familiar with census tracts, don't worry, we are going to look them up on the map later on. But just so that you know, they are small, relatively permanent geographic entities within counties. And generally, the census tracts have between 2,500 and 8,000 residents. Okay, let's just start with our single search. We know our table number, and that is the most precise way to start your search. Type in the table number, and you see it will provide us the specific table we requested. So, and as you can see, we have selected the DP03, and the Census Bureau provides us this as a filter. You can add on to this with the advanced filter. So remember, we want to have all the census tracts in Wise County. What you would do, can now add to your filters. And we add the geography filter. For that, we will click on census tracts. And then we'll follow the prompt, go to Texas. Then you can certainly, again, scroll all the way down, all the 254 counties in Texas, or you just use a search bar. You click on Wise County, and we want to have all census tracts within Wise County selected. Okay. So we check our filters. You can see DP03, all census tracts within Wise County, Texas. We will hide our filters to widen our view. And as you can see, the table has automatically put us in the ACS 5-year estimates because census tracts are only in the 5-year table or in the 5-year product. Our first census tract is in the first column, and as we scroll further down, there's a next census tract, and so on. So we have many census tracts we can scroll through. So let's take a look at the other data columns for this particular table. It is showing us the estimates in the first column, so the total number. Then we have the corresponding margin of error. It also provides us percent and the corresponding percent margin of error. And just to give you a full information, the margin of error describes the amount of error for an estimate. So as a result of sampling a population instead of a census, if you only sample a part of the population, the sample will almost never perfectly describe the entire population. So the difference between the sample population and the entire population is described using the margin of error. Generally speaking, the larger the sample, the smaller the MOE. So the more data you have, the more confident you can be in that data. So, and MOEs from the ACS are provided at a 90% confident level. Okay, back to our example. So we are interested in poverty. And as I mentioned in my last example, how you can easily hide columns in bulk that you would like to get rid of in your view. So now I walk you through that step by step to clean up the table in order for you to have it customized and only show what you're interested in. So you will see on the top all those selection options. So we will click columns, and you would then unmark the search or in the checkbox. And as you can see, our table is empty here. So we want a percent poverty. So what we enter is percent. Then we click the checkbox. And the next, we will hide this panel. And to have a better overview, we will, with the margin of error button here, we can hide all the margin of error in display. We usually recommend to have it, have the MOEs displayed, but for this example, I hide all of them so that you can see. Now we see the percent column for all our census tracts nicely next to each other. Okay, so when you look at the left of this table, you can see that there are information about the employment status, then commuting to work. All those categories are capitalized. And then you have occupation and industry. So a lot of data, but in our example, we want to see the percent poverty. And I happen to know that the poverty is at the end of this table. So we scroll through and then I see one percentage of families. I cannot read it correctly. So you can widen this column to see and read it correctly or in total. And here we have percent of families and people whose income in the past 12 months is below the poverty level. So the most common way to look at poverty is for all people. So let me do that. And as you can see, we have here our poverty for census tract 1 with 2.9%. 7.6 for the next census tract, and so on. So once you've gone through these steps, you may be interested in saving your table or your results. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. So here on the top, you would click More, and then you can see all those options you have. You have Excel, CSV, or zip file. I'm going to show Excel because it's the most popular, but be reminded that the zip file is, or the zip file format is a machine readable output in case you want to do your own analysis with the data. And this is a great way to use a zip file with that. But again, the Excel file is the most popular. So what you will do is you click on Excel and then you follow the steps depending on which browser you are using. Here it opens up that file for me, and I can click it, and hopefully you will see that the Excel is opening up a file here where we have an information tab where you find general information about the table ID or the data product, the ACS 5-year data product. But here we have our data tab, and as you can see, and this is really great, that we got the output again looking similar to what we saw on the screen. Our gray geographies are in the columns. Everything is nicely indented and readable. And by the way, this has captured also the customizations we made on the table display. So it only gives us the percent table. So if you want to print your file, you can print that as well. But let's go back to our table view because there's so much more tabs I want to show you and highlight real quick. So we have when you click on More Tools, we have here the Cite button. When you click that, you will find citation for the format in popular layouts such as MLA, APA, or Chicago. And then another great one is if you want to share your table, for example, you work on a proposal and you need certain data, you work in a team and you want to share, hey, I found that. The Census Bureau offers a share button. When you click on share, you can either share it through social media or by email, or it will provide you a link and you can just copy that dedicated link. So you can either copy that link or you can copy right out of the URL bar, and then you can open this, and I hope you can see this in a new tab, and you can later on work in the exact table or share the exact table with your colleagues. Another button I would like to point out, which is really helpful, is the notes button here. This gives you this gives you helpful information about the survey and the programs, and also it explains symbols you don't when they are in the table. So you can find all those additional information about technical documentation and everything under the notes button. Okay, the last feature I want to show you, and I know we are running a little late, is the maps button on top here, because this is a really, really great tool, especially as it helps you to visualize all the information you are having in this big data table. Okay, so how you can make a map. You would click on the Maps tab on top, and what it does is it shows you all the census tract in Rice County. At the moment, the default is in labor force. To make sure that you are in the correct layer, you can click here the layer button, and you see we have selected our census tract at the moment. So we are looking at all the census tracts in Rice County. Now what we need to do is we want to select all people in poverty. And as you can see, you would click, let me do it again. There's this little drop down here. At the moment, the default is in labor force. When you click it, you can then select all people in poverty. And you remember it was at the bottom of our table. So that means we scroll down here as well. And here we have our percent of all families. And here we have our all people. So as you can see, the map or the default is always percent. If there's percent in the table, the default be on percent. So make sure that you have selected the correct one, depending on what data you are going to use. So now I'm going to click all people, and we can see here the percent by census tract. You can change the base map. You don't have to, but this can help. When you scroll in, you see then certain street names or parks which are named here. And you can see easily digest all the information you have seen on the table. So for example, the census tracts with dark blue are those with a higher percentage of people below the poverty level. So, and you can click on a single county if you like, and it provides you the information about the percent of poverty. And then you can, when you want to share this map, you can also go in here and change the title for that map. So you can say all people, oops, percent below poverty as a very simple one. So when you want to share it or use this map feature in one of your presentations, one way would be that you just go and make a screenshot, or what works well as well is that you click here on the more tools, say print, and then it will provide you a PDF. And I hope that works. It will come up here under my download. And as you can see, we have here the map of all people which are living below poverty for Wise County by census tract. So that is a nice way to share or use that feature as well. Okay, and with that introduction, I think we still have some time for a couple of questions, if there are any, and we can now stop sharing.
All right. So